What's going on, people? We're back. It's another episode of Tough Times 2. I have a comedic legend here with me, Jim Daly. You know, comedian, magician, and he does a whole lot of other things too. Thanks for having me, Jim. Thanks for I'm over at Jim's. Well, I guess where are we right now, Jim Thorpe?
This is this is Arrowhead Lakes and Pocono Lakes, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
This is our little getaway retreat home.
Wow, it's definitely a nice getaway for sure.
Tough times.
Yeah, right. I don't know if it's too tough. You know, we're sitting in a hot tub. You know, things are actually pretty good. But so how long have you been doing comedy?
You were slipping between your daddy's fingers when I started. I've been doing. I'm 64 years old, and I've
64 years young over there.
Since I was 20.
Wow.
44 years.
That's amazing. You know, that's a long span of doing comedy and magician type work, and then what you did? You do Santa Claus too, right?
And then Santa, yeah.
Yeah. So it never really ends for you, huh?
No, it's fun.
What So I mean, having a career of that span, I mean, like you've probably seen a lot of different decades of comedy there. So I mean, like,
yeah,
you've seen it grow and seen it adjust. I mean, like, what was it like when you were starting out, like where it's at now? I mean, it's changed significantly.
When I first started, you know, that was kind of what we call the beginning of the boom, because in the 80s, 90s, that's when comedy had really taken off.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of comedy clubs. I mean, everywhere you went, there was comedy clubs.
And then what, you live around here majority of your life in PA? Or
Philadelphia, yeah.
Philadelphia, yeah.
Outside Philly. And so I started at a little place that had a weekend comedy right at Drexel University.
Oh, yeah? You remember your first mic?
I did.
Yeah?
I did.
How did it go?
Horribly.
Of course.
I stared at the spotlight, and I just said my routine, my memorized lines.
That's great.
I didn't even respond to any audience. I just just staring at the light. I didn't even look at them.
So back then, I mean, technology is way less advanced, I would say. I mean, did you record that set? Did you have no? Did you have any thoughts of like recording sets at that time?
I did. Did I? I don't think I recorded it.
Because setting up a camera back then,
I
was gonna say you had to set up some crazy type of setup.
It was a cassette deck. You know, I don't know if have you seen my act?
I've seen. How long ago was that video on YouTube where you have you're down in the red hair, you got the curly mustache still?
Oh yeah, that's long. Yeah, okay.
Where was that at?
That's probably in the 90s. I don't know where that was.
Wow.
It's some TV show.
That's a cool video, man.
With the mustache.
Yeah, doing the napkin trick. Yes.
Okay. Well, I do a piece of my act. I actually use a cassette deck from Radio Shack.
I do. Yeah, I remember that. I've seen you do it a few times.
People to remember.
I enjoy that whole act and set. I mean, your cadence on stage is fantastic.
Thank you.
I mean, just from I remember when I started doing comedy, and it was like my first Philly's Funniest. I remember I saw you that year, and just like that set, I was just like, oh my gosh, this guy's on another level of difference of like what I'm seeing right now. I mean,
well, I had been doing it for a while.
Well, yeah, I mean, to have the experience, I mean, yeah, that's definitely one that's going to put you ahead for sure.
See, that's the important thing. You have to get on stage as much as you can to get that experience and the confidence, I guess.
Yeah.
To to play with all different audiences. So I've played with everybody. You know, when I think back at it, I don't do kids shows typically.
Yeah.
I have. But I never, probably for 35 of my 44 years, I haven't done a kid show.
That's pretty interesting. I was going to say, I was just about to say, that's pretty interesting to think about. I mean, you get a little washed out with Santa Claus. You're like, I'm not doing the...
I don't. No, because as a magician and a comedian, I grew up in the comedy clubs. So
it's so
my
awesome.
whole routine was geared towards adults.
Yeah.
Now, doing magic for kids, certainly it can be done. It's done every day.
Yeah.
But it's a whole different routine. It's a whole different way mind think.
Yeah.
It's a whole different thing that you have to.
It's almost smaller. Yeah.
Well, it's not even. It's not that. It's just that, kids don't necessarily get fooled because everything is magic to them.
Yeah.
Cartoons are real.
That's very true.
Spider-Man is real. You know, it's
Yeah.
not like you make a coin disappear and you pull it out of their ear. It's like, okay, that's cute.
Yeah.
Okay? But if you do it for an adult, they go, what?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it's very true.
It's a completely different mindset because as adults, we are taught that isn't real. That's not possible.
That is so
And
crazy
then
to think about that.
Again, as a magician,
Yeah.
you're trying to create the impossible for them.
Yeah.
And then kids also challenge you too much. I don't like being challenged. That
Did you always do the magic from the beginning?
No.
No? What? Like, how far in were you when you, I guess, like realized like what you love doing?
No,
You know?
it wasn't too far.
Really?
I took a little class. My opening, when I first started doing comedy, it was just straight stand up. You know, it was just trying to. I related to my car, my family. You know.
Yeah. The personal stuff.
I don't think I was very good. Nobody's good when they first start out.
Of course.
But you need to get on stage first, right?
Yeah.
So, but then I took a little course, mainline school night for $35, 10 weeks, called Entertaining with Magic.
Wow.
And I thought, well, this would be kind of fun just to do, you know. And I took the course. I had a blast. I loved it. I fell in love with it and just got hooked. And from there on, I tried to add a little magic to my act as
Wow.
I went on. And, the open mic was 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you got. And at the time, there wasn't anybody doing what I did.
Yeah.
At least in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I was really the first one to approach the stage.
And that's cool because you probably got a lot of people questioning you at the time, right? When you're going up there. I mean, were any of your buddies like, that's an interesting idea, you know? They're probably like a little bit amazed, right? That you're taking a little bit of a different route.
I think they did. I don't. They never approached me that way and said,
Huh.
"Hey, that's nice." But
I mean, you look
just
back at
started
it now,
doing
though, you see that it's like kind of like, wow, I was doing something. I'm glad I broke out and did something a little.
I don't know.
Because you like almost develop your own style in that sense, right? I mean.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has their own style.
Yeah.
My doing magic was just another prop act.
Yeah.
And
You've been using the
even-
same bag for a while,
No,
too? No. I like the bag you got now.
funny.
That's cool.
That's funny because I've used a bunch of bags, and I've had them hand painted.
That's so sick, you know?
This one, the one I'm using now, is just a vinyl.
Yeah.
The people who I have a friend of mine who does signs and
Yeah.
logos on cars and for businesses and stuff.
Mhm.
So she did my bag.
That's pretty cool.
And this bag's getting old. One of the wheels broke, so I'll probably get another bag and ask her to do something else. But I've had them hand painted, usually with my portrait on it.
Yeah.
Big mustache.
Yeah, I like
When I had a
that.
big mustache. So yeah, it was kind of fun.
Yeah, that's sick, man.
That's
And then what? I guess the Santa Claus thing kind of just rolled in with it.
yeah.
Like, what made you do that?
As I got older, my bright red hair, my beard at least, started turning white.
I'm actually the first time I heard you mention you had red hair.
Yeah,
I was.
people don't realize that.
Yeah, I was like, "What?" I was like, "Get the
Yeah.
fuck out of here!" You know, I was kind of like,
But you saw it on.
"Yeah," and then I saw it on YouTube, and I was like, "Holy
Wow.
shit!"
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
what
"Look at
people
this
say.
guy, man."
I tried to convince some guy yesterday on the beach, the beach up here at Arrowhead, because we have 4 of them,
Mm-hmm.
that I had red hair, and he said, "Nah, you never had red hair." I said, "I'm telling you, I have red hair." Now my beard is actually all natural. That's naturally white. My hair right now has been bleached because of Santa. I started bleaching it last year.
Okay.
But my hair was like yours. I kept it
Yeah, yeah.
short. I think if you remember me when we first met,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think I had long hair.
No, I don't think you did.
So, so then I started growing my hair long because of Santa.
Yeah.
That's it's basically a
It's
third.
iconic. It's
a
the
third
whole
of my
part.
life.
Yeah, that's the main part of Santa is that beard.
It's 2.5 months out of my year, so I really want to look the part.
Yeah. So where do you do that at?
The Santa?
Yeah. All over? Or
Pretty
you?
much everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
I primarily sit for a photographer down in Havertown.
That's cool.
I spent most of my time with her. She started doing Santa pretty much with me. She actually did it with her father for 1 year.
That's interesting,
It didn't work
yeah.
out because he was older. He didn't. The kids were not. I don't know if he knew how to handle kids. He had a fake beard and a cheap suit.
Yeah.
I came in with a real beard and a nice suit.
Mhm.
And we built this business. She built the business. Hopefully, I can say that I helped a little bit.
Yeah.
Of bringing in Santas. Last year, even during COVID, I did 1,300 sessions with her.
Wow.
In the 2.5 months.
Wow.
And yeah, when we started,
lot of wishes fulfilled there.
Yeah, when we started it, she did maybe, I don't know, maybe 30 Santas that first year, or 30 visits with Santa that first year, and now she has 8 Santas. I did 1,300 and change visits, and she's got a huge business now just for Santa.
That's so crazy.
Count the Easter Bunny.
I
don't do Easter Bunny, but let me hit this button here.
Yeah. That's pretty.
You got to get the bubbles going. So the Santa business is pretty good. I enjoy that. I got into it about 8 years ago when my beard started turning white. I thought it'd be nice. I always kind of wanted to do Santa. I tried it years ago with a fake beard and a fake hair. And it looked horrible. And I was like, this isn't worth it.
So you were just like, you got into your method acting bag there. You were like, I gotta like really grow this out.
But what happened was when I had my mustache, I did. I heard that there was a beard and mustache competition. Up in Coney Island.
Really?
Of all places,
Yeah.
And so I took my nephew and I said, come on, we're going up to Coney Island for the day. And we drove up, and I had this huge beard. I mean, like 2 feet long,
I'll plug a little clip of that. Or
yeah,
something.
That's fine. And then I went on stage at the Coney Island and presented my beard. Now, at a beard contest, it's literally a beauty contest for bearded men.
Really?
That's really what it is.
a lot of bearded men show up.
A lot of bearded men. And they had different categories. The different categories would be just mustache, natural mustache, or a mustache curled with styled they call, with curled up. They had beards, natural beards, baby beards or business beards they would call them. And then they had.
They had a ton of different categories.
They had what they call freestyle, where you can style it up, and you'll see some of them. I'll show you some.
That's crazy.
And so.
But they do it right on the boardwalk there.
No, it's actually at the Coney Island Sideshow.
Okay.
Which is kind of a circus sideshow.
Yeah.
Theater. It's actually pretty neat.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
If you've never been there, go.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
Great place. Go, people, go. And so I did it, and they were giving out the awards, at each category. They put me in a category of partial beard. Because my mustache came down to
partial beard.
Partial beard. Like
what?
Like someone would have a goatee.
Yeah.
They had chops, just
long
sideburns. And they were handing out the awards, and I didn't get any of the categories. I was like, well, maybe maybe it's a cliquish thing, maybe.
Yeah.
But they ended up giving me best in show. Because they never seen anything like that. They never saw such a big mustache. And at the time, it was white.
Yeah.
It's this huge mustache, and I didn't have it really tightly curled.
Is it like that one in your profile picture?
I don't know what
I'm trying to think. On YouTube, it's like long white. It's going in a couple different directions.
Nah, that's a different one. But
that's an interesting style too.
If you look up Jim Daly beards.
Yeah, they'll come up,
and you'll see a ton of pictures there. Coney Island's been really good to me. New York, I've even been in New York City where I've won a couple of competitions.
That's pretty cool.
They've been real good to me.
People are asking to take pictures with the beard and whatnot.
All the time.
That's pretty cool.
In 2013, I went down to New Orleans, and I did the National Beard and Mustache Championships.
Really?
Which is a huge event.
That's pretty crazy. They have and there's probably so many national competitions just for anything now that you mentioned they had one for beards. I mean, I can't imagine the limits on that now. It's probably limitless.
Huge event. That was a huge win for me because I won my category, which was at the time I didn't have sideburns, so it was partial beard, freestyle. So that's where I have all kinds of curls coming out, going down.
Do you do it yourself? You style the beard yourself?
Yeah, it's all mine.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you ever have moments where you're like maybe grocery shopping or something in like July or something, out of season, and people are like, "Oh my god!" Like a kid's just like, "I think that's Santa Claus right there."
Yes. All the
Yeah,
time.
that's
All
got to
the
be a wild time. And do you play into it?
I do.
Yeah, that's gotta be a good time.
A lot
You're
of
like,
times I'll carry stickers with me and
That's
say,
funny.
I met Santa Claus. And I go down the beach here, and just yesterday I went down the beach, and I had a red shirt on, and the kids saw me coming in. And I rode my bike down, so the kids saw me come
Santa
in.
just biking around.
And the kid went to his mom, said, "I'm going to go see Santa Claus." And just a little kid, and I could see him coming over. I said,
Yeah.
come on over. And I had a sticker, and I gave him a sticker.
That's good
And then
stuff.
his mom came over, and then he came back with a couple friends.
He's like,
So I'm
"Yeah, you guys
handing
don't
out
believe
stickers
I
to
just
all
met
these kids,
Santa
yeah.
over here,"
Yeah.
you know?
So they all know me down the beach. Santa Jim.
Oh, that's so cool.
So yeah, Santa's been good. The beard. I'm telling you, I think the beard made me more money than anything else.
Really? That's pretty badass.
Just having to wait.
So, but you win money off these competitions with the
No,
beer?
the competitions they're all for fun. It's all fundraising.
Okay.
Usually cancer.
That's
or-
awesome that
or
you're
for
doing
pets
that,
or
yeah.
something like that. Never win any money. It's all bragging rights and a trophy of some sort.
Sometimes it's all that matters, honestly.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
bragging
and I-
rights, you
yeah,
know?
and I
You got
travel-
other people that are like doing their beard thing and you're telling them, you're like, man, you got to work on it a little, you know?
I traveled around the country just on beer competitions for a few years.
That's
For
pretty
nothing.
sick.
I mean, really, it's just out of my own.
You just meet a lot of people, you see new things,
That's
try
a
new
friend.
things.
I have lifelong friends that are still doing the beard stuff. you
So
know?
it's a pretty nice, strong beard community.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. We're doing it good. And it was also a break from doing comedy trying to do comedy every week.
Now,
you know?
did you like? So we're talking the communities with what you do. I mean, like now, being comedian / magician. I mean, were you finding other like magicians that were like, oh, that's pretty sick that you do comedy with it, or?
No. I mentored a couple comedian magicians
Oh yeah.
who, they said, "Hey, I like what you're doing. I'd like to do that too." And yeah, sure. Norm Clark was one.
Oh wow.
Do you know Norm?
I've heard the name.
He's a local Philadelphia.
I don't
comedy
know him, but
magician.
yeah.
I very, very beginning, I showed him his first trick,
Wow.
and he's hilarious. I love him. Anytime I can get a chance to see him, I would go see him. He's a great guy.
I had one run-in with a magician one time. I was on a cruise ship when I was 11,
Mhm.
and this kid was 9 years old, and he was a magician. It was fascinating to me because like I had felt like I was talking to this girl on the cruise ship, and I felt like I was getting to know her pretty well. And at that age, I felt like I was falling in love, and it was just funny because this magician came through, did a couple tricks, and that was
off
gone.
she went.
Yeah, she was off with him, and I was like, wow. I was
gets-
like, I got to get my act together, get some better
Learn how
jokes
to
together.
saw somebody in half.
Yeah.
Then you can take home the good half.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, magic is fun. It's just and I've worked with a lot of different magicians.
I've got
and
2
comedy
tricks
magicians.
that I can do, and it's pretty much like my dinner tricks. If I'm out at dinner, it's I can bend a knife and make people think I'm bending it for real.
Okay, yeah.
And then I can pull a knife out of a butter roll if I'm wearing a watch.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like nothing too crazy, but they carry a lot of laughs if you're like actually sitting in a place where people are like, "Don't bend my silverware," and like
Right.
they start panicking for a brief second. But like that's like the rush, I guess you're almost after, right? Is that kind of appeal of like people
Well, for
like
me-
you're like, oh wow, like
Yeah, for me, it's I do everything to get a laugh.
yeah.
So almost all of my magic, if not all of it, is to get a laugh out of it. The trick's going to work.
Mhm.
The trick is a trick.
That's
and I don't.
that's awesome to think.
I tell people that anybody can do the trick.
So you spend more time on the punchline then.
It's a presentation. It's getting that routine where you're going to get people to laugh, people appreciate it, and then say, "Wow."
Yeah.
I do a trick where my opening effect. Almost every show I do, there's I pour water into a newspaper.
I love that one.
and
Yeah.
then I pour out, quote unquote, wine.
Yeah.
And that was anybody can do that trick. It's a simple method. It's available online. You can buy it. But it's the presentation. It's how you sell it, how you put it out there. And every trick is like that. My
Well, even like your simple stuff. I mean, like, with the knife in the bag,
well, yeah,
that's magical. Like, I love that joke a lot. or setup. I mean, even
somebody's been using that recently in town.
Really?
Yeah, there's another.
It's yours though, right?
Yeah.
It's a shame to see, you know.
I was told about
You
it.
hate to see it, right?
Yeah, I was told about it.
It's sad to see almost. You're like, man, you got to hang on this. Like, what are you doing?
And it's funny because I challenged him online. I said, "Yeah, go see his act. Go see him. I'm not gonna say who it is, but go see him and watch my act." And he came back. He came back to me and goes, "Oh, I've been doing that since 1990." And the problem is I never said what of my act he was doing.
And he knew right away. And
He
see,
knew
that's
exactly
the way to trip people up. Look, that's a veteran move right there. You know,
He
that's
knew
just
exactly.
wisdom right there,
I said,
man.
"You motherfucker!" You know,
Yeah, that's just amazing.
You don't even get it. So
That's the catch right there, man.
So and you know, hey, God bless him. Let him go do his thing. You know, it's one little quick bit. It's not even magic. I mean, quite honestly,
No.
it's not a magic bit at all.
It's just a
visual
It's
gag.
almost like back to like those silent days of just
Yeah,
like you
it's
know
just-
you don't need any words. It's
No
just like
words at
wow,
all.
this is just
visual
beautiful.
gag, real quick, and then walk away from it. But you know, whatever. I've actually had a couple people take it, but
Yeah.
So but him particularly, he came
Deep down,
and took
I'll
notes
know, and
during
everybody that watches this episode will know. You know that is yours, but
Yeah,
I
you'll
mean,
know
it's just like it's great. It's greatness when you're watching it, and it's just like
my favorite though is my what I call Bill and Lemon,
is it with the oranges and whatnot?
the lemons and the grapefruit.
Yeah.
That's absolutely my favorite trick.
Honestly,
Most people love it.
when you did that show in Phoenixville, you actually did that on one of my old coworkers who came out, and I was just like, even though I'm kind of like in on it because like I'm on the show and I'm like, all right, I know that he's like a comedian magician, but I'm still standing back there with the other comedians like, how the fuck is he doing this? You know,
Yeah.
like I'm sitting there just baffled still. I'm like, oh my god, like,
Yeah,
and
people-
like I even had her and a couple of her friends texted me after the show like, how the fuck did that guy do that? You know, and I was just like,
whoever it was, they don't know how.
yeah, and I was just like, I have no fucking clue.
And they're right in front of me. They're
Yeah,
literally
I was like, he
under-
did it in front of everyone, and we all have no idea.
And that one person that I take their $100 bill from, or 50 or whatever.
Yeah.
it is,
And that was what
they
was
have
even
no
more
idea
mind-boggling.
how
She
to-
had $100 bill on it, so it's just like, yo, it's like that's an element that either you must have been either prepared for or you've known. I mean, I have no idea, but it's just
Yeah.
amazing if you ever
and
get the
then
shot.
It's all
you know?
comedy.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
all,
man, and it's
and
great
if you're holding
too.
somebody's $100 bill.
It's very polarizing because you're doing things and it's just like you got the attention, and it makes you feel like when you're done your set. I mean, I think you did like maybe 30 minutes or more there, but I mean, who knows? But when you're doing that and then you get done, it's like, oh man, you know, it's like that went so fast. But like
Yeah.
you're just like, we want to just hang out still. It's like, you know, it's just like,
That's nice. Thank you.
yeah, that's what you want to capture as a comedian. I feel
I
it's like
guess,
it's that
yeah.
feeling of just like, oh, we're just hanging out. Like,
I just want to go up and do my thing.
yeah,
I'm not a real social. I mean, I am social to a point.
Yeah.
I don't really drink. You know. I'll
Yeah,
have
yeah.
a beer maybe. And
Yeah, that's me
But
too.
I'm
I'm not
not a-
really like crazy about
I don't
drinking.
hang out with all the comedians and then.
That's
try
what was
to
cool to
outdo
see you at that
each
show
other.
because like you were sitting there, you were talking with us. I was like, holy shit, I didn't know Jim talked like this. You know, I was like, oh, I mean, like in the sense of just like shooting the shit with people. You know, I just
Yeah,
like
I
because
mean,
like stereotype wise, you're like, oh, that guy plays Santa Claus in the winter. You know, it's like he's got to be a pretty nice dude. You know.
And then I'm saying motherfucker.
Yeah. He's like, how about this motherfucker over here saying this at the bar? I'm like, oh,
Try
that's
not
too
to say
funny.
too much, but-
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm a completely different person on stage than I am.
it's cool to see.
now. And then Santa's a completely different person.
Yeah, of
than,
course.
Than Jim Daly is. And so Santa's but you know what? You put that red suit on, it changes you. I never really liked kids because I just don't like the challenging me. But as Santa,
Yeah.
you have
Ah, man.
as Santa, you have a little power, and you can play that power a little bit. But to see the wonderment and the amazement in their eyes
Yeah.
and the pure adoration, it literally changes you. And I told this to a couple Santas that I helped out. I said, you know, once you do this, you're never going to stop. I mean, you will not stop, and it may take you over. And this one guy I did just kind of in my neighborhood. He lives actually where I met my wife, and he is full time, 24 hours, 365 days a week. He is Santa Claus. He does. I
Really?
mean, it took him over so much. Where I,
Wow.
you know, I'm just waiting till the middle of October. Yeah. I mean, I have my things down the beach, or you know, people will stop me, and
I love how you realized it too that you say the middle of October because it's like I run into people that count Thanksgiving as like, oh, it's like, dude, we're not Christmas yet, it's Thanksgiving. I'm like, no. I was like, we're already transitioned into Christmas at this point. I mean, like once it hits November, I'm Christmas mode. You know, it's like
yeah, and most people.
yeah, it's just like it's the way you got to roll. It's
Well-
because like even the holiday, it's like a pre-Christmas thing because it's like they got Black Friday. It's like everybody's buying stuff for Christmas. It's like
Well, in Christmas being December 25th, if you work it back, you have a month from Thanksgiving, but then you have to work that back a little bit because people need to. They don't need to, but they do get their Christmas cards out. So,
Yeah.
So that's why my season starts in the middle of October.
yeah.
Because people want to get the Christmas cards out. They got to take the pictures, they got to receive the pictures, then they have
Wow.
to send them out to have,
Wow.
have them
So what do you
100 pictures made and then mail them out.
That's a wild thing I didn't even think about. So yeah.
Yeah, it's all part of the business, but the business is that you need to work everything backwards so the people have time to get their Christmas cards out. Although I do have one of my wife's cousins who sends out her Christmas cards in July. It's always Christmas in July.
Oh, she does the Christmas in July thing.
She comes in November or December to get her picture taken with me.
So that's
And it's
interesting.
so funny because she sends out these very cold holiday
Yeah.
Christmas cards in July, and it's just that's how she chose to do it.
Huh.
And you know what? I look forward to getting it.
Yeah, it's always it's pretty interesting
Just
to think
different.
about. Yeah,
Just
it's different. I like that. People
You'll-
that do things different is always.
You'll always remember that one,
Of course,
because it's
yeah.
and hopefully that's like
And
my act.
and that's what I love. I've loved that for a while. That saying, almost in a sense, because there was a Steve Prefontaine, the Olympic cross country runner, and he used to say, well, his coach used to say, he would have meetings at like 8:47, and people would be like, "Why are you doing 8:47 meetings?" He's like, "Well, you show up at 8:47 to see why the fuck I'm doing it at 8:47." And like
Right.
that's why I even like from that, it's like I do reviews on like TikTok or whatever of like random products and stuff, and I'll rate things on a scale of 7. And people in the comments are like, "What the fuck are you doing with the
Great.
scale of 7, man?"
Perfect.
And it's just like, that's all I wanted was you to comment, "Why are you doing this?" And like, there's no
Because-
rhyme or reason behind it, but now you guys are just like chirping in the comments about how mad you are about this, and it's
Because
just like
it's
you're thinking about it all day too. It's just like it's a weird form of marketing, you know?
Perfect. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's great. We have, I've gone. I'm sure you've gone into parking lots or communities where it's 13 miles an hour
Yeah,
or 7 miles.
yeah.
an
And you're just
hour.
like, what the fuck is going on here?
Why? It's because you see that sign. It hits you, and you go,
It hits way different.
oh,
yeah,
okay. So I have to go slower.
yeah,
It's not the typical 25 miles an hour or the typical
Yeah.
15 miles an hour. It's 13, and I like how they did that because it got.
it
my
really
attention.
does. Yeah, it's
And-
just not another blow through. You're like,
And
oh,
that's
this is
what got me
and
to
then
do
you're
it.
thinking about it for like a couple miles. You're like, what?
And that's
the
what got
hell
me
was
to do
that
magic.
about? Yeah,
Do comedy and magic. It's something different. At the
Yeah,
time,
that's great.
again, there was nobody who was doing it when I did it. When there were other comics that came in.
I mean, there's certainly like a lot more doing comedy now than back then, right?
Comedians, yeah.
Yeah, comedian wise, yeah. I mean,
It's, the competition is fierce. I mean, there's a lot of people out there.
and
There's
it's funny
some
too
really
because
good
like
ones.
me, I sit there and like, just starting like maybe like I don't know 4 or 5 years ago now. It's
Right.
just like you sit there and you look around and you're like, well, there's not. And then from my angle, I'm like, well, there's not too many. There's not too many. There's like in the Philly Comedy Network, there's like 3,000 or so or 4,000 or so.
That many?
Yeah, and see, that seems like a lot to you, but me, I look at it like, all right, well, there's 1 million people in Philly. So it's like,
Right.
4,000 out of 1 million, like, that's not that crazy. And then people will be like, well, everybody's got a podcast. I'll be like, well, who's everybody? Like, let's really look at this. Like, there might be like maybe 150 out of Philly, maybe, or more. I mean, I don't know. I don't think everybody's got one, but
I don't have one,
yeah, it's just like,
and I'm everybody.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like,
I mean, I have when I started in 80, 79, 80.
mhm.
I mean, there were maybe 25 comics.
Yeah,
that
wow.
were- there were. We used to call it open stage rather than open mic, but it was open stage.
hmm
And
People get up there and do anything.
yeah, it was comedy based, but
Yeah.
they came up and did anything. But anything is like an open mic is now. And we would have. I was at the Comedy Factory Outlet, and we did it at midnight after the second show on Saturday night. It was called Midnight Madness.
I love that. I feel like comedy back in the day would go later than it does now.
Right. It
You know?
did.
It seems like they're like, all right, we got to end this mic. It's 10 o'clock. It's like, dude, what?
Yeah,
You know, 10 o'clock.
and yeah, they start at 7. And
Yeah, it's just like, come on.
no,
I want to
we
rock
used-
into the late night. I want to be here till like 2 a.m., but like have a real audience, you know, not
there might
like
be
people that
10
are
or
burnt
12
out, you
there might
know?
be 10 or 12 guys who did the open stage.
Yeah.
And it ran for an hour, if that. But it was.
What was the
literally
average
after the
time back
second
then?
show, or maybe in third show, because sometimes when comedy was really hot, we were doing 5 shows a weekend at one club.
How much
So
time
2
they
on
giving you
Friday.
there?
For the open stage.
Yeah, you
Usually
both.
between 5 and 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then for like if you're doing a show or something, like I guess. Would they do showcases and stuff like that? Or?
Yeah, I mean, like paid
Yeah,
shows when we
yeah.
did shows. Yeah, we got. I guess the opening act was the MC. He got usually 15 to 20. The middle act got 20 to 30, and then the closing act got 30 to 45, depending on who you were and what you did.
And they wouldn't like overbook them like they do today.
No,
like 20
no.
comedians on a show. It's just like,
Never.
what a nightmare.
Never. It's it's abusing the audience.
It is. It's bad.
If
It's horrible.
If an audience, if they're paying to come see an open stage, fine. Put as many on as you want. If they're coming to see a real show, this is something most comedians are going to argue with me.
Yeah,
on.
of course. I mean,
But if as a producer of a show, you have an obligation to your audience to give them the best show that they're paying for. So you don't put on somebody who's just trying out new stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Oh my gosh,
Because
yeah.
you're not paying him and you're adding more time to the show.
yeah.
It's not. It's you're abusing.
I see
the
that
audience.
happen a lot, and I'm
Yeah,
just like,
it
oh
happens
man.
all the time. It's just an abuse to the audience. You got to give the audience what they paid for. Other people might say, well, I gave them what they paid for, but I'm giving them something else and I'm helping out the comedian. Fine. I
Yeah.
totally understand that. But again, the audience is coming in and they're going to see that first act is going to be the MC, is going to be okay. That guest spot for no pay is going to do 10 minutes, and sometimes that 10 minutes is horrible and
Yeah.
just lasts forever.
Oh, man.
And then then they forget about it by the time the headliner's on. It's
It's
tough.
almost blinding because they forget that they're damaging maybe what their perspective of a comedy show locally
Right, and
is.
they think the audience is getting 4 comedians instead of 3, but it's the quality. It's the
Yeah.
quality of show. So I mean, that's just my perspective and how I think. Other people may have other thoughts on that and other opinions, which is fine.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm not even the one to argue over that
I'm not
either.
gonna
It's just
argue
like
on it.
I just like know what I feel is
No,
kind of
no.
right. It's just like I would never want to make anyone sit through it. Like if you go to some of these open mics, and you're sitting there for 4 hours. You're like, wow, that was brutal for 4 hours.
Yeah,
like
yeah. We've been together.
yeah, and
I-
and you get
They're
some
fun.
people sitting there, and you're like, dude, I would. And like sometimes there's even regulars at these open mics. And you're like, man, how do you come to this every week? But I mean, you
But
know,
then again, most of the time it's just you're playing to the comedians.
yeah, that's a lot of it. Yeah.
I'll give you my theory on that.
Was it like that back in the
open
day or
mics.
no? Right.
Well, you
Not as
played to
much?
the comedians, but
Yeah.
my theory on open mics has always been the same 20 years ago as it is today. There are 3 different types of people who do open stages. There are those who are dedicated to the craft. They come in with new material. They try out the new material. They work it. It may take them a couple months to work out what they really
Yeah.
to get a good solid 5 minutes or whatever. Or they come out with new stuff. That there's a guy who MCs over at Tony's place over in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Boy, he's going to hate me for forgetting his name, but he's there MCing a lot. Okay, always new material. Always new
That's
material.
amazing.
And he'll repeat stuff and he'll just try to get a reaction out of people, but it's generally new stuff. So that's the guy is dedicated to the craft of comedy. Then there's those people. The second group of people in open stages or open mics is those people who are trying to impress their friends. Get laughs just from their friends. So it could be comedian friends, or it could be the friends that they invited to the show, and they're the hit of the dinner table. But when they get on stage, they're just trying to impress their friends.
Yeah.
It's not that includes a lot of inside jokes, a lot of stuff that only their friends can relate to, and it is boring for the rest of the crowd.
Of course.
Then there's those that need therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you laugh at that, but I am perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
There are the people who piss me off the most are the people who are just doing it for the friends because it's a waste of time.
Dude, it's such a waste of
They
time.
have no
sometimes.
motivation other than make their friends laugh. But the people,
Let alone we account for like how far people have driven and stuff. It's like we know that some of these people have driven like an hour and then just come here and they just do that, and it's like, oh man.
But
you're
those
dealing
people
with your
who
time.
need therapy, people who need therapy, need it for therapy.
Of course.
Include me.
Of course.
You know,
It's a relaxing thing to do,
when,
you know.
When there was no shows to be had, man, I was back to the open stages. You know, because nobody else was working, and you could get an open stage, wear a mask, and put a little condom on the microphone and do your thing. It was a time. It was something to get on stage and then try out new stuff. But it was really just to clear my head. I needed that. Now things are opened up a little bit. I don't go to open stages as much. I still want to. I still want to do some stuff. But you
think about your time. Yeah,
summer
you think
I'm
about
here,
your time too. Yeah, I mean,
And
it's just like
I retired. I mean, I had a business that, and we'll talk about businesses later. But
yeah, of course.
I had a business that I was working 7 days a week, and it was just
it's draining.
Absolutely consumed me.
Oh, man.
Although I always did the comedy, it certainly is not. I'd never made a living out of it. I mean, a real living out of it. I did make a fair amount of money from it, but I also had a business I had to run that was my living, that was paying my health insurance.
Yeah.
Although I paid it, I paid it for my employees too. But I had this very successful business that I couldn't walk away from. So about 5 years ago, I sold it, and then I worked for them part time.
That's cool.
And
that's interesting.
Instead of working 7 days a week, then I was working 5 days a week, 4 days a week. I cut it down to 3 days a week. I gave up, traveling to Philly. I just did the suburbs because it was easier to get around. I didn't have to deal with parking and all this. And then went down to 2 days a week. I did that for about 6 months. I said, you know what? I don't really need this. I wasn't doing it for the money because I had the money. So, we're relatively, very comfortable.
Yeah.
That, and I'll go. But so it wasn't about the money. It was really just about getting my head straight.
Yeah.
And even now, I still oh man, I haven't done a show in a while. I better get out there and do something, whether it's an open stage or a
you feel calling you back. You're like, oh man,
somebody else.
whatever.
I made a fair amount of money in comedy. I've done some big shows. I've done some big theaters. I've opened up for some big people. But I've also, at the same week, end up at a open stage or open mic and, try out something new.
Yeah.
But that's what it's for,
Oh, yeah. I feel like I don't like when I'm going to these open mics, I try not to do the same material every week if I'm going to the same one, because it's like you're just going to beat people up, honestly, if it's the same crowd. You're just beating them down.
Right.
You got to cycle your material a little bit, kind of adjust with the times. But
if you need that one line, or you need to edit that, and that's where you kind of rely on your friends and say, hey, once you do me a favor, watch the act, let me know what I can do. Or why isn't this getting a laugh? I think it's funny. Why isn't it getting a laugh? And your best critics are going to be your friends. So hopefully they'll be honest with you. Just ask them to be honest with you, and they'll give it to you. I belong to a couple magic clubs, but there's one magic club I belong to in Delaware County, and I'm doing a new bit with, I don't know if you've seen this, but I'm doing a new bit with a Santa hat.
I don't think I've seen that one yet.
So, and the trick itself is basically I get robbed.
Okay.
I hold my Santa hat and I get robbed. Santa gets robbed. Who the hell robs Santa?
Yeah, right.
What the fuck is going on that you got to rob Santa? So the guy says, I went, give me your money. So I pull out my money, and I have like $57 in my wallet. And I show them the $57. I pull it out of the wallet, and I leave the wallet out there so everybody can see it. And then and then he says, just put it in the hat. So I put the money in the hat. Then the robber says, give me your ring. And I have my wedding ring, and I said, I'm not going to give you this because my wife will kill me, so you might as well shoot me now. And so I give him my other ring, this pinky ring I wore. So I put the pinky ring in the hat, and then he says, give me your watch. So I give him my watch, and I put that in the hat, and I give him the hat, and he runs off, and I just talk about being naughty. Well, the guys at the Magic Club, they were helping me out with lines because the trick is going to work, and I'll tell you the trick in a minute. But the trick is going to work. I'm just looking for lines. Naughty was a big thing that came up. Just continue to say that he's naughty. He's a naughty man. What happens to naughty men? So now I finish it by pulling out the hat. I have the hat in my hand, and I'm playing the robber, and the robber opens up the hat, and what does he get out of the hat? A big rock of coal. Okay, and then I push the hat inside out, and you can see that there's no ring, no watch, no money.
That's awesome.
But then I show that I have my watch, I have my ring, and the money is, and I show my wallet, and the money's in my wallet.
That's
so
good
that's the
stuff.
trick. But now trying to figure out how to get lines for this. So I did that at the Magic Club meeting. The Magic Club guys, most of them knew the trick, but they were helping me out with the lines. I mean, they were helping me out because I asked them to. I said, I'm looking for material. Where can I go with this? And the one guy said, just emphasize the naughty. It's naughty. You're naughty. And then I said, you're right. And that's when I brought out the coal.
Yeah.
So that expanded the trick. So, it's just finding that those people that you trust that will give you some honest, honest opinion about what you're doing. And these are all magicians, so they're all judging me on the magic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I first did it to them, blew the magic anyway because I kind of revealed it.
Yeah.
But when I did it again for them, they would say, okay, that's good. Now do this, or try this as a line. And so that helps. I mean, so you have to entrust your friends. You're not doing the comedy for your friends.
Yeah.
You're doing the comedy, but you're asking your friends to critique, give you an honest critique, and
that's exactly what is the best part about going to those open mics. Honestly, in my opinion, sometimes it's not even like when you're doing your time up there and you're sitting with the crowd and whatnot. It's when you're outside talking to these other comedians that are there, and like I feel like I kind of get some good material out of just hanging out with them.
Yeah.
Like when you're in the camaraderie of all these people, you might like throw a little dig that you were thinking about doing on stage or something, and it's just like everybody laughs, and you're like, wow, well, maybe that might work,
Yeah, I'm not that way, but
I have fun with it, like in that sense. But it's
I'm
similar for me than for you going to the comedy for the magician workshop there.
Well, yeah, it's similar. It's similar. It's just me. I don't. I'll hang out with the comedians a bunch, but I mean, look at me. I'm probably 30, 40. Sometimes 50 now.
Yeah.
But I'm 30 or 40 years old, and most of the comedians that are out there now doing the open mics,
Yeah.
And,
oh my God.
And I see it. I understand it. And unlike you, you think, wow, this is great. I don't take the the high head, the big head.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I've been doing it for a while. So, but you know what? I've been doing it for a while, but I'm not anywhere. I'm still in Philadelphia. I'm not in LA. I'm not doing a sitcom. I'm not doing Vegas. I'm not doing these big clubs. Have I done them? Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm not your your Harry Bazels, your Chris Rocks, I'm not anywhere near that because I chose to stay in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
To work my business with the comedy,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm blessed with having enough to have a vacation home or a second home. I had a third home, but I mean, it's just my investments were good, and so very comfortable now, and I don't need to go out there and do it, but I'd like to still go out there.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you don't even need to be a legend on that big of a level, A legend that people like us, man. It's like you're sitting around. We're younger comedians, like. I mean, the stuff that I don't hear is like when we're all. It's like somebody sees Jim Daly. It's like when you walk into a room and you're at an open mic or an open stage or something like that. Jim Daly's there. It's like, Jim Daly's here. That's what everybody says. Is everybody's like, oh, look at this vet. Here he is.
That's nice.
Jim Daly's a vet. Everybody knows.
That's nice to hear from.
Yeah.
And I get it, but
shit on you. Nobody's like, fuck Jim Daly's hack or anything like that. It's
except
just
that
like
one magician
except that guy. that guy sits there at night. He's probably he's got you on a dartboard somewhere.
He's not going to open mics. He's going to real shows with a notepad.
And it's funny because like just recently I actually had an interaction where I felt like I had to say something to this guy because like I was going to this open mic pretty weekly, and like at some point I noticed that he was pulling out a camera and he was like videotaping everyone's set, and I was like, and I just went up to him and was like, what are you doing that for?
Yeah.
And he's just like, I don't know.
For not didn't get any permission.
No. And I was just like, well, yeah, like don't film my set anymore. It's kind of weird.
It used to be a big rule before, when cameras first.
It's pretty unsaid, I feel, right? Yeah.
When cameras first came out, and you do videos on your phone. It became pretty prevalent that some people would videotape the acts, and just lay audiences would do that.
Yeah.
But I know people who've stopped their act and said, you need to put that camera away. You don't have permission to
Yeah.
take my act,
Mm.
because then it ends up on YouTube with somebody,
Yeah.
under somebody else's name.
Maybe out of context at some
Yeah,
point.
completely
You know?
out of context. And it gets them in trouble, or it's just not their best stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't approve. Like, I wouldn't approve to have.
Of course.
I wouldn't approve to have any of my stuff put out there unless I thought it was good. And believe me, you don't see a lot of my act out.
That's myself too. It's like, it's just like you kind of like you're your own critic.
Yeah,
You're not gonna put anything out that's trash.
And I just don't have
or
a lot
at
of
least
stuff
you
out
believe
there,
it is.
so.
But yeah.
So, how about you? You working?
Yeah, right. I work a bunch. Yeah, I do what I can, but I'm trying to put more stuff out there. I'd say in the next year or so, I'd probably start releasing more clips. It's just all about kind of figuring out the angle in the room. It's just like making sure you're capturing appropriate audio, because like some nights you're up there and you're hearing great audio through yourself.
Yeah.
Then you go back and you hear the film and you're like, well, the camera was way over there. It picked up the audio kind of half.
Talking,
yeah, and then you got a guy talking. It's just a lot of variables. But I mean, people are getting it done.
Yeah, that's yeah. Unless you have and
it's very time consuming with posting all the stuff. I mean, I'm already posting all the content for the resell and all that, and it's very time consuming, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just taxing on your body, mentally. You're just like, I've been posting videos all day, and like some of them you're getting 100 views, some of them you're getting 300 views, some of them you get 5,000 views. But it's like when you get 5,000 views on a video, and then you get 4 videos in a row where you're getting 100 views, you're like, why am I doing these? But yeah, that's tough times.
Tough. There you go. Not so tough.
Yeah, tough. Right? Jim, I appreciate you,
Thank you, Ryan.
coming on the show.
This is good.
I think we've reached a pretty good amount of time. Let me see here. Yeah, 47 minutes.
Getting
pretty good.
closer to the.
Yeah.
Here, let's splash them.
Yeah, right? Hit him with the... But yeah, Jim.
Goodbye, iPhone.
Appreciate you having me, man. This video will come out soon. And stay tuned for more Tough Times, too.
Thank you, guys.
Cool. You have anything you want to plug?
Merry Christmas. See if we can find some deer.
Yeah, man, that'd be cool.
Bears.
Yeah, honestly. Oh, my.
So the mother deer is going to be around here somewhere. He's still in the spot.
Are they a little less timid around here? They look like they're a little less afraid. Look at him. He's like ready to hop in the car. That's cool.
This is the big one. This is the larger.
That's pretty crazy. Cold water kills. Wow. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. Jim Daly, the man with the beach. I didn't even know places like this existed in PA. That's pretty cool.